time space.
Yeah.
All right, let me double check, make sure we are indeed live, because I don't have the experience that Omar does. Yeah, good. Howdy there, Omnibuds Cafe and fellow Greathouse fans. We are here today with Joshua Greathouse, the creator, the entrepreneur for Bang, Ballad of the Tiger. Famous and infamous in the near mint condition Discord and as a moderator and all-around great guy. With me today is Brian as well.
I have no idea how I got so many mod powers on YouTube.
You use them for good and evil, and that's all we can hope for.
It's all good on my perspective.
So I've been really excited to bring Josh on board here for the Omnibuds Cafe channel, do some interview, do some pimping of this book. So, Josh, what you got going on Kickstarter? So
right now I am kickstarting volume 3 of Bang, the Ballad of the Tiger. I got volume 1 and 2 here. Don't have 3. This is my Kung Fu inspired fantasy. So instead of a guy with a big sword, it's a woman with a boot. Yeah, there's a lot of kicking and punching in this book.
Nice.
So this started off me bored at work, and I was like, oh, I'm having fun with this. Then it was like, oh, let me do a little bit more. Next thing I know, I'm on 20 plus chapters, and I'm like, I guess I'll continue doing this.
Why not?
Why not?
I mean, really, and that's where all the best ideas start, is when you're bored at work.
Well, I think the other thing is because I've worked on many comics, and by the way, Stephen, I just shared my screen. Okay. So
let's do it.
I think the other big difference, though, is it's easy to be like, I have this magnum opus, I want to tell this tale. At the end of the day, though, it's like, okay, but is it entertaining? Like, what is the goal of this?
Mm-hmm.
Because like this started off, originally the idea was like, oh yeah, let's do a Saturday morning type cartoon and just do some character designs. And man, this did not last as a Saturday morning cartoon. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, one thing it definitely has in common with the Saturday morning cartoons is its mature themes and storylines. It's not toned down at all.
No, it's the kind of thing, I won't lie, I kind of created like a little world where I can play in, and there's certain things where it's like, so just to give you an idea, like way back in the day, I remember my mom, she'll love that I tell this story. She kept saying I was broke, and I'm like, no, Mom, I'm poor. And she's like, no, you're broke. And I finally I'm like, broke implies I'm not good with money, poor implies I'm not getting paid enough. But it's like you got certain themes like that where it's like, okay, let's look at, because the story starts off with the Empire takes over the kingdom. Because most fantasies, it's always like, oh, we're trying to push back this evil kingdom, this evil invading army. They already lost. Like, new governments in reign.
Okay.
So, Bang. So, wait, Brian, just out of curiosity, you haven't read a thing of Bang, correct?
No.
Cool. This is going to be kind of interesting because we got Steven, you've read are you caught up or are you?
Oh, I'm caught up.
But no, are you caught up? Like, did you read chapter 21?
Okay, so I'm one chapter behind then.
So fun fact too, right now, if you go to joshgreathouse.com, the first 16 chapters are free. No strings attached. Just over 300 pages worth of comics.
Sweet. I'll check them out.
So yeah, the idea is how this story starts off. Bang is wearing her father's old uniform, which is a soldier of the kingdom. She then goes through a part of the woods, she's gone through a million times, but is now no longer allowed to go through there. Government makes an example of her, exiles her and our young hero, Eddie. And their adventure starts.
Oh, wow.
So naturally, let's do this. Because watch me doodle is always fun, but this is the other good thing about being the creator / publisher. I can do everything I want. So let's look at chapter 1.
Okay.
It's not looking. There we go. So each chapter is 22 pages. Got the cover, like a little piece of art like this, then comics. So this is also a love letter to Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, because one, the color palette stole directly from Akira Toriyama, like not even lying there. Two, started off the same way with Goku jumping over the cliff. I got Bang jumping over the cliff. So yeah, originally I did like the first 5 pages, and I was like, oh man, I'm kind of having fun with this. Or I guess the first 4, and then I was like, oh, let's keep going.
Yeah. Very nice art. You did the art yourself too, right?
Everything except for the edits. I've written, wrote, drew, penciled, inked, lettered.
Wow. Okay.
But Josh has someone pretty well known and pretty special as his editor as well.
Yeah, a couple people know her, Melanie from Near Mint Condition.
Oh, nice.
So I was lucky enough. So I pitched this out to a lot of companies. In hindsight, I get it. I honestly do get it, because I'm like, hey, I want to make a 100-issue fantasy. And a lot of them are like, hey, do not submit a 100-issue fantasy, because it's like most people don't, it's like bold dream, no one finishes. It's like, that makes sense. So I was like, well, I'm having fun, so let me self-publish this. So I sent this out to the YouTubes, and I was lucky enough that Melanie from Near Mint was the one who answered.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. Honestly, the way Steven was leading that up, though, I thought it was going to be like your wife or something at first.
Ugh. But yeah, it's the kind of thing, like I said, this is just me. It's goofing around, but any question? Because I can go on and on and on. But is there any questions? Or
well, before we get into the meat and potatoes of the Kickstarter, I think people might be interested in knowing a little bit of your background as to what got you into comics. What else have you done outside of Bang? And now that you're seeing such a great following with Bang, what this Kickstarter will really lead to beyond the success of the publication of the 3rd volume.
So a couple things. What got me into comics? I could not read. Yeah, let's dramatic pause. No, but seriously, when I was a kid, all of a sudden I'm a little bit dyslexic, and it turned out I just need like a little bit more help, like being able to read. Problem is I went to public school, and you make more money off of special ed students than you do off of normal students. So they kept me, like, I honestly was not taught how to read. Like, let's say the sentence was, the boy goes to the store. They're like, just make up words to convey the idea. And it's like, that's not how reading works. Like, that's not how this works.
No.
So I came home one day, like, just distraught. I'm like, I had to be like in 1st or 2nd grade. And I'm the youngest of 3, but my sister at the time, now as an adult, it's not a great piece. I can tell you everything that's wrong with it. But as a kid, she was making a painting. She's in high school. I'm in like 1st grade or something. And this piece, I was like, I could understand everything in a heartbeat. So to me, I'm like, words are useless. Look at this art. Because it was a checkerboard floor that turned into water, then had a trout coming out of it, and then had the most 90s cafe-style seating in the corner with the sun sitting there, and then in the background, the moon was setting. So, like, to me, I'm like, these are complex ideas that I can understand. Like, especially the floor turning into water blew my mind. So I wanted to get into animation. The problem was, I was like, oh, man, I didn't understand the difference between an in-betweener and a keyframe, or that there was a team of people. So I thought it was like one poor soul that had to draw like a 30-minute cartoon. I'm like, no one can do this. This is, astronomical. You also have to learn how to draw from real people, life drawing. Yeah. I do that now, is the irony, because at the time I was like, I can't learn to draw from people. But I discovered Calvin and Hobbes, so I got into comics. You had a couple questions there because it was the future of Bang.
So the next question, I believe, but before we get to that, Kevin in the chat has a question. Kevin's also one of our administrators. He wants to know how long you've been drawing, what kind of training you have, and if you're self-taught.
So the second grade, I am very much self-taught of all the bad habits I've had. But art-wise, I've been lucky enough to have a lot of great mentors. I went to SCAD, but afterwards, I was lucky enough to have Sanford Green was looking at my stuff, and he's like, "Your anatomy's terrible. Talk to a guy named Brian." And I was like, "Cool. Where?" Turned out it was Brian Selfreeze from Gaijin Studios, who's been my mentor, who took like so many Saturdays to help get me there. So I've been drawing since the second grade. Professionally, since like 25, like the last like 15, 14 years. And this is, I think this is like my sixth comic, technically. Like I've done a couple of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll say this: anyone that's like, "Oh, are you self-taught?" In this day and age, especially with YouTube, and like, no one's going to be self-taught. You can watch videos. There's resources out there if you can't meet someone. But if you're ever at a con and Brian Selfree's there, go talk to him. He does free portfolio views. And if you want a watered down, knocked like Temu version of that review, come talk to me.
Man is a delight. And for those of you who want to support Josh's other work, we have a few books right here. We have this Infinite 7, cover C for issue 3. Pick that up. And one that, if you're familiar with James Abel from Near Mint or Omnibuds Cafe, we have regular show issue 5, cover C. And
that was my first professional cover.
It's gorgeous. Just Mordecai and Rigby doing what they do, loafing against a tree, something violent and insane happening in the background. Just love it. And I think you've answered the second question, which is what else have you done beyond Bang? So I guess the next question would be, what is the intent of the Kickstarter, and what can people do to support you with this Kickstarter beyond producing Volume 3?
So each volume covers 4 chapters. And kind of again, why I did this size. Originally, I was looking at doing like a single issue, but I've noticed off a Kickstarter, they've gotten expensive. It'll be like $20-$30 for like 30 pages. And it's like, man, a floppy, it's hard, but in my mind, like a floppy should be like $2.
Yeah.
So I kind of looked at this. It was a little bit of the manga, a little bit of the Archie, but I was like, you know what? 100 pages, 4 chapters. It's a good value. Mm-hmm. So volume 3 covers 9 through 12. I'm currently working on chapter 22. So the good news is like all the pages are done. We still got like, I got a little prep for printing. That takes a weekend. But overall, like, yeah, the book is done. So we're ready to, and I've worked with this printer before, ready to go to ship. The future of this, I got a lot of stories to tell, especially I have set up some stuff I cannot wait to get to. Like, oh my gosh, it's not the right blood. That is a line I've been talking about. No one knows what that means but me. But when it gets to that point, you all are going to lose your mind.
I cannot wait to find out. So, like, do you have like a whole like Bible? Like, are you like set? Like, you know everything that's going to happen from like now until like the end, or you still just go along?
Yep.
There you go. All right.
So this is how, like, when I first started this, like I said, it was character designs.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, let's pull up said character designs. But I won't lie, like the first chapter didn't really know where I was going. It then kind of turned into where it was like, I now have, then it was like, okay, let me get the last page. Then it was like, okay, kind of working backwards. So this was the first official, actually, let me pull up the actual file. So this was me goofing around with the characters.
I love it.
That's cool.
especially because like a couple of things that kind of changed. I believe at the time Kingdom was out, the K-pop zombie drama, because Eddie's here's design is very much Korean based. I honestly went more just Gohan, even though that's traditional like Chinese garb, but like it's straight up Gohan. Go back to the original point though. I do have an ending in mind. I have like the climax. So the way I work, we're going to use the metaphor, the roadmap.
Okay.
So it's like, hey, we're starting off in Los Angeles. We're going to New York. So with that, it's like, okay, I know I need to stop in Vegas, but I don't know like the stops in between LA to Vegas. So right now we're actually getting to a pretty big story beat that I've been working on. That like I got like 3 or 4 of those planned, but it's the kind of thing like individual issues. It'll be like, okay, I know this is my goal. How can I like make this an interesting way?
Okay.
Because the other thing I try to do with each of my issues, there's like an overarching story. There's a couple beats I'll go back and forth on, but I still want an issue to be interesting. Like there's always some kind of fighting or conflict. There's always action. Because even there's been a couple where I'm like, okay, I need to put more talking heads to explain stuff. Well, let's limit that. So there's never a single issue that's just straight up like, we are having brunch, or here's this. It's always something's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to keep up the action, keep up the pace and all that. Because, like, I mean, you are ready for a trade, but it's also like you want to like make each issue like interesting.
Truthfully, I'm more writing for the issue because it's like, okay. Because it kind of depends. Like the first one, it's like we're introduced to Bang. Like the first couple of chapters where we're getting introduced to the cast. Mm-hmm. Then it's like, okay, it's a fantasy. We got to go to a dwarven mine with goblins. Like it's almost required by law.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, what can we do differently? Because that's the other thing I try to do. It's like, it's not just being like, hey, let's copy X, Y. You know, it's like, I do have a couple golden rules though. One, I love Lord of the Rings. I love Norse mythology, and I love a lot of Celtic. Those aren't allowed in Bang. So like anything that falls under like traditional D&D kind of setting, you know, I'm like, no, it's just the kind of thing I try to avoid because it's been done way too many times.
Yeah. So basically, elves.
So let me open these up. This is from chapter 4. There we go. So, and I try to make a little different settings. So, like, my dwarves, I base them off of Mayan and Aztec culture.
Mm.
And Dwarven. Like, also another fun fact, since I do everything, I letter I do everything digitally. I was taught traditionally. But yeah, so the idea is like, even if you see letters, there's always art behind them.
Okay.
I know you said that Dragon Ball was an inspiration behind this, but the first time I read this, I really got the feeling that it wasn't just Dragon Ball that this has a relation to. It feels like and obviously this is still being published. Rest in peace, Kentaro Miura, but it feels a lot like Berserk because these characters are on a journey. They have a goal in mind, and it is dark as hell in parts of this story. So those of you watching now who will watch later, this is mature ages content.
What are you talking about? I don't see what you're talking about. How dare you inflammatory this process?
This is not My Little Pony or Sesame Street. This is mature ages content for sure, but it's not gratuitous. There's a through line with this story, and there's a lot of heart and emotion that even if you didn't know Josh, even if he wasn't part of this interview, you can feel the essence within each of these pages. And these characters the hell they go through and the fact that they just keep going, I'm hooked.
So it's a couple things. Like, one, I'm definitely a product of a lot of things because, like, yes, love Berserk. It's one of my favorite books. Love One Piece. I can tell you this much. There's a ton of, like, Pirates of Dark Water in here. Now, am I saying, like, oh, there's the dark, any of those characters? No. But definitely that crazy world, that's a part of this. So, no, it's definitely, it's kind of funny. To my mother's chagrin, she wishes I did more, like, kid stuff. I end up always going the more mature route. This one is it's honestly just me having fun. It's me figuring out, like, different storylines. Speaking of near mint, actually, I think, oh yeah, that one's a little bit of a spoiler, but hey, here we go. So yeah, it's definitely, there's different, I try to mix, like, different genres and different stuff. As hard as it is fantasy, but it's also, like I said, I just try to avoid certain fantasy tropes, I guess, is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
I think it's working so far, and I think the format is very comfortable for anyone who's picking up those DC compact editions. Those are nice, those are comfortable, but they can be a little weighty because you're going anywhere from an original graphic novel size book to like 12 issues, and with a thicker book, even in the small size, it adds a little bit of weight. These are light as a feather. You're getting 4 issues per book. You're supporting a creator-owned product. Not that there's anything wrong with Marvel or DC, but you get exactly
way too much money on them.
You get exactly what you're paying for. And when you pick this up, you know it's going toward a good cause instead of a corporation that's going to put advertisements or charge $5 per 18 to 20 page issue. Again, not that there's anything wrong if you're enjoying the corporate comics, because look at the shelves behind me.
I am self-publishing this in all shape, way, or form. Like, every order is me. All the creative stuff is me. But yeah, all the anything like advertisement, but just shipping products. Like, I'll be the one who's packing each one of those books. So my grubby hands will be all over this.
So I got a quick question. How did you get the gig for the Adventure Time cover?
So I went to college with the editor at the time, Whitney, and Adventure Time, like, that blew up for Boom because they were a brand new company. Like, I think they were like a year old or something, and I think they got those, like, licensed on a whim because it was that in Adventure Show. It was a regular show in Adventure Time because that was a regular show. Adventure Time make them like millions of dollars. So she asked me, she's like, hey, do you want to do a regular show cover? And I was like, of course, I love that show. Hung up, I'm like, I know of it. I have no idea what it is. Luckily, Target had a $5 DVD, so I watched a couple episodes.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, so it's kind of random and let me do this, because I think... Oh man, you're about to see all the inner workings of my Mac.
The horror.
I know, right? So it was the kind of thing. It was like at the time I had to submit 4 covers, and that was the one I was kind of hoping to do. Let's see if I can find it. Ooh, that one's old. Yeah, there it is.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I'm a big regular show fan, and this just, it fits the tone of that show completely, but makes it more realistic and kind of modernizes it a bit in the style of animation.
So the fun thing is that monster, it's a mixture of a Mike Mignola, I believe a Batman cover, like with the giant horns, but then also a rattlesnake.
It's an interesting combo.
Cool.
It's I'm terrified of snakes, so I was like, what would scare me? So let's go look at a bunch of reference of rattlesnakes.
See, I'm glad you said that because at first I thought it was your take on the Balrog from Lord of the Rings.
I mean, technically it kind of is because it's a fire demon. This was more because the irony was, man, this was way back in the day. Originally, these two were like completely in shadow and dark because I wanted them more in the foreground. And of course, they wanted them closer to the colors of the spec. Granted, this is like 15 years worth of difference. Like, I would have changed a couple things. But originally, yeah, like this was all dark. Or actually, hey, let's do this. Like, this was all dark, and this was like the lighter, hence the fire. But yeah, this was a lot of fun.
One of your editors is talking to you.
Yeah, that would be the lovely Abigail Buzzsaw Greathouse. Hi.
She cracks the whip when Josh needs to focus.
Yep, next month it will be 17 years together with her, and I found her on the street.
Wow.
She's amazing.
Ugh. But yeah, it's the kind of thing. I've done a couple covers, and that's it. Like, I've definitely had a weird career. What was it? Tidal Wave Comics. I did 4 issues with them for Jason and the Argonauts, which I've never seen cash from them. Probably never will. It was my first gig, and I did everything but writing. And it's the kind of thing, like, it's just, that's been kind of my lot in life where it seems like I end up doing, like, all the work. So I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm doing everything but writing.
Yeah.
Still love that cover. So it's like, why not just write this?
Yeah,
just do it all.
See, I love the way you form facial structure. If you hadn't told us who your mentors are, the way you draw faces and bone structure for those faces, it reminds me a lot of when he's concentrating, mind you, because I've seen loose inks, no offense to him, and pencils, is Michael Avon oming. I think if he ever decided not to do powers, that would be right up your wheelhouse.
Because, yeah, luckily I was taught, hey, y'all want a quick art lesson?
Yeah.
So, let's see. Let me get this. Let me get this. Let me get this. Hi. Mwah. 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 Sorry. You give her enough loving, she'll run away. So most people are taught the Loomis technique. Ooh. Draw a circle, add magical points, drop a chin. Yeah, we've seen this 1,000 times in comics, right?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that's not a human skull. Like, the way I was taught, you draw a box. Exciting, I know, but from this box, this is how you can create almost any kind of head. Now, the first thing you need to do is make sure this and this are the same length, because the weird thing about the human skull, this to this is the same. So let's start off with a profile because that's the easiest. Now, what I'm using these for are measurements. So I know, like, for a profile, it works like that. Ooh, generic head number 5. So there's certain things I know. It's a little off there, but we can work on this. And that's the other thing about this technique. It's being able to drop this in quickly and refine it. So instead of spending like all day or noticing my mistakes like 20 hours after working on a piece, it's like, no, let's work on, So there's certain measurements, and this is generic human number 5. No one's built this way. It's just if you take enough humans, you get these generic measurements. But like ears usually are from like top of the eyebrows to the nose. And usually it's kind of we all know this one. Like there's always that middle section of the eye. but there's also like the back, the front side of the eye lines up with the mouth. So it's a kind of thing. And the other cool thing about the box, and I'm going to do this. Yeah. Remake my box. Do a new layer just so it's a little quicker. Because most comics are drawn like a 3/4 view.
Okay.
So same thing. And I can make like a because I have like a whole folder that has like these breakdowns and studies. But yeah, that is generic like head number 5 once again.
Yeah, it's like something
new
stuff that you gotta do in drawing.
And yeah, because like I said, if you look off of here, you can roughly see like that box, and it's the idea is just you slowly refine it until you're adding like the details. Because truthfully, Bill Sienkiewicz is one of the greatest artists. But he's also one of the greatest like trickeries in art. Because everyone focuses on the details, and it's like truthfully, his images are really basic and simple because he's got his foundations down. He just puts so much bullshit. Everyone gets lost in the bullshit because they're like, look at the textures. It's like that is a silhouette with a light, like with a little bit of light cutting. But since it's got a weird texture instead of a flat color, and don't get me wrong, he's a genius for it. But it's like I said, he's a magician where it's like he makes it look like the most complex drawing. It's a very simple understanding of foundations.
Yeah, it's definitely you can definitely see that. It's like it's simple, but it's difficult too.
It's not even difficult. Like I said, it's more. It's also the other thing with Bill. There will never be another Bill, because like one of his favorite art tools is lighter fluid.
Okay.
So watercolor pencils, the idea with those, you can blend them to get certain effects.
Okay. Yeah.
Sienkiewicz doesn't like how they blend. You can get that same effect with lighter fluid in normal colored pencils.
Holy, wow, that's interesting. You learn something new every day. I never realized that.
Yep.
That's
no one realizes that but Sienkiewicz. Here's the fun fact. If he's at a con, I don't know. This is the last time I saw him. Like, he had no signage, so you have to know what he looks like. Also, walk towards the smell of lighter fluid or strong chemicals. You're like, that's Sienkiewicz.
Just bring something to have him sign it.
That's fantastic. And for anyone who wants to meet Josh, he does appear at a convention usually late spring, early summer. He's able to be found as part of Heroes Con every year.
That's the one. I need to do some more. I'm always terrible about this because like I'll be like, oh, I should request this con. I should do this, that. Then all of a sudden, like I'll forget about it. And it's like, shoot, I'll do it next year.
Where's Heroes Con located?
Heroes Con is North Carolina, Charlotte. It's always middle of June or end of June. So it's either like the teens of June or the 20th or so.
Okay.
And I will because I'm here to plug the Kickstarter, but I will also plug that show. If you're a comic book fan like art, that's a show for you.
Okay.
They got 3 lists of guests. Like their featured guest list is bigger than most people's like. So like most cons will be like, oh, we got these celebrities, we got these wrestlers, yada yada. Yeah. Heroes Con is just straight up artists. Like the biggest names they've ever had were Stan Lee, Run DMC. I forget the other one, but both of those were comic book writers.
Yeah.
Like if you don't make comics, you're not part of that show. They have no wrestling, no TV, any of that.
For my preference, if you're interested in something that is really about the art, I mean, no offense to San Diego, no offense to New York, but they are big corporate conventions at this point. For my money, it would be Heroes Con and Baltimore Comic Con that give the most love to the creators on that East Coast area. You still obviously have your Artist Alley, you still have your big name celebrities that will show up from time to time, your sales floor, but really they seem to be the two conventions that I've participated in before that show love to the creators.
And I haven't gone to it, but OAX I've heard nothing but good stuff on, because that's the original art expo.
Mm-hmm.
Also, y'all hearing the feedback, or is that just me?
I'm hearing it as well.
I'm not hearing
just from time to time.
Yeah. All right. Sorry about that. Anyone with headphones? The original art, I think it's like they've only had 1 or 2 years. This is like, it's kind of made for the people to buy original art. This is like the big spenders. But what's cool is because I've had friends who've gone, and it's like, yeah, we didn't spend that much on art, but you can chill and just watch artists create stuff and talk to them because it's such a low-key show.
Mhm.
So it's the kind of thing like, if you want an Adam Hughes 11K commission piece, that's the show to go to.
Yeah, like we need more shows like that now. Like we need less of like the corporate stuff and all that. And again, I'm a big wrestling guy too, but it's like I want to just see comic artists as well. So,
and I think they have their place because it's like you got Disney's like D23. You know, you got certain things they'll make their announcements at.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, because and the crazy thing is too, because like I do like New York Comic Con, but that's even more like a publisher show, I would say, because that's a chance for them to show off like their books and stuff. Especially if you get a chance, like going to like the Dark Horse booth, like it's cool to see those booths and like all the stuff that they have.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like it's not a you're not going to have a great conversation with an artist you love or a creator you love at New York Comic Con because it's so busy.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Yeah, even before Marvel really kicked off their studios, I would say up until a little bit after the first Avengers released in 2012, New York Comic Con 2012 was a little bit more centric toward creators because even Robert Kirkman, 2 years after the Walking Dead TV series started, he was able to sit down and have conversations with fans. But that is not the case for New York Comic Con anymore. Again, nothing against those larger conventions, but if you want to really get an understanding of the work that goes into comics and really appreciate the art aspect of comics, both writing and the physical artwork, some of these smaller conventions are the way to go.
Yeah, because especially like a friend of mine just let me know like Chattanooga Comic Con's happening this month. I need to double check on that. But they got like Roy Thomas, Jen Zub. They got like a lot more like of the Conan crew. It's like, oh, I'm a big Conan fan. It's an hour away from me. It's like, yeah, I might be able to check that out.
Yeah,
maybe wink, wink, get yourself some work with Conan as well.
That would be a dream. But yeah, Conan, like I love. Go back to my egotistical ways. With Bang, it's definitely a little bit of dark fantasy. I would say a good dash of sword and sorcery. So not much like what's known as high fantasy, aka Lord of the Rings is the most popular one. Game of Thrones is a mixture of dark fantasy, but also that high fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
But this show is all about you, so talk about whatever you'd like, but focusing on the Kickstarter, we still have 12 days to go with the Kickstarter. We need $3,500 to hit goal. We are at $2,865 with 69 wink wink
Nice
backers. Oh yeah, and there's still plenty more loving to give if you guys want to. And
also, sorry for cutting you off, but the one thing I'll say, it's cool. Like and you can tell because it shows how many. Because I backed 104 Kickstarters, which I did not know was that many. But I backed like big guys. I backed little guys. The crazy thing is, when you back one that's like performing gangbusters, you almost feel like a drop in the bucket. You're like, do they notice? I can guarantee you the second someone backs me, like you see that percentage goes up. Like I am definitely I get excited because I'm like, oh my gosh, we're one step closer. So like I said, to everyone who's backed me, I appreciate it. Especially it's nuts because we're not even at over 100 people yet for this book, and it's already gotten this much love.
Oh, that's crazy.
Are you able to bring up on your since you're presenting the little slide that showcases the different tiers for the Kickstarter? Because there are some pretty great tiers with this Kickstarter. As Josh mentioned earlier, this isn't where you're going to be spending thousands of dollars for win a date with Josh Greathouse or anything like that. Though that would be cool if that's something you guys want.
I am a whore.
On for an anniversary.
I am a whore. If you want to spend thousands of dollars on a date with me, we can talk.
But there is some great tiers here.
So one thing, I really did try to price these in a way because I talked to my printers. I've noticed with Kickstarters, a lot of things have gone up where I'm like, why have they gone up? Especially like PDFs. I find them almost ridiculous when they're like, hey, we need to charge $35. It's like, it's a file. So we got like X amount of PDF tiers. Now, granted, I'm well aware the omnibus kind of, we're all lovers of physical, but it's also at times it's like, well, maybe I want to try this out. Or I do ship around the world, but it's also shipping is never easy. So book one, the standard $15 with the PDF. Then what I try to do is, so it's like, let's say you want to get book 1 and 2. Technically, they're each $15 each. I knock it down to 25. You want to get books 1, 2, and 3. I knock it down to 40 plus shipping because I'm a saint, but it's also money. The world.
It's also the postal service. It's like we're all cows being milked by the postal service.
And then head sketch for $75. I got a retail bundle, which only one person has backed that level.
Only one? Wow.
Only one person.
What is that one exactly? What does that cover?
That covers 5 volumes of Volume 1, 3 volumes of Volume 2, and 2 volumes of Volume 3.
Oh, wow.
Because it's 50% off. Because when talking to a shop, they always need Volume 1s. Because that's the one everyone buys.
Yeah, of course.
So I tried to make this in a way where it's like, hey, this is something you can actually try to sell.
Mm-hmm.
And then the big one at 150 Premio art sketch, 11 by 15 watercolor, yada yada.
Mm.
But yeah, like I said, I am shipping. I'm handling all of these. So you buy PDF, you buy the big 150 sketch or commission. One way or another, I'm the one finishing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. Everyone loves sketches too, especially your art. Your art's like very good, so like people would love that.
This isn't just an investment in Josh. This is an investment. If you've ever wondered what it's like to help produce a comic, this is basically an opportunity for you to do so.
Mm-hmm.
1 second.
And I'm not just excited about this because I've known Josh for a couple of years now because he's my friend, but this is my wheelhouse. I love superhero comics. Spider-Man's my favorite Marvel character. Zatanna's my favorite DC. Brian and I could talk for hours about The Flash, but to really be able to invest in a creator-owned series, it's something special because it doesn't get reset to the status quo at the end of each story arc or a run. The story, just like with Robert Kirkman's Invincible, it's completely in their hands and you can expect one thing, and that's the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
And also, guys, so unprofessional, he just left his own show. So wanted to show something off too, because I feel like, especially because like I feel like a lot of these groups, you have some newer creators, new collectors, and it's kind of easy to forget about this, but we're all familiar with this title, Headloppers from Image Comics, Volume 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great, fun comic, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. You can buy that anywhere. This was his creator own. It's basically the first chapter of Volume 1. But I got this back from him at Heroes Con before he got the Image book.
Oh, that's
So,
insane.
Yeah.
This is something no one can buy. I did. I bought it for $10. That's the other thing with creator owned. You never know, because like a friend of mine, he's got an original Mike Mignola Hellboy piece because he got it when Mignola was doing Dark Horse Presents, and no one knew that would blow up with Hellboy.
Who knows? This could end up being the next Ninja Turtles, next Hellboy, Invincible. It just needs that love and support that all the way back in the 30s, Siegel and Schuster got for their Superman idea that has lasted nearly 100 years at this point.
Needs
And
that
also-
spotlight.
And also, because like I said, I'm working on chapter 22 right now. One way or another, it's right there. But here's the other thing. Let's say, which I doubt it, but let's say for whatever reason, this Kickstarter doesn't go through. I get shunned from society, blacklisted, yada, yada, yada. I'm still going to be drawing Bang because I'm having fun with it.
Right. Of course.
So, I mean, look at that. There's a bear wearing armor.
So cool.
Who's in armor? Oh my God, bear's in armor.
Sir, first of all, who's driving the car?
Oh my God, bear's driving.
Yes, I'm well aware of the Clerk's cartoon. Speaking of, man, we could screw Bang. Yeah, you know what? Just give me your money, buy my book. We're now talking about Clerks the Animated Series.
I could talk about that for hours.
Oh man,
the hell that Kevin had to go through with that series.
You know what though? In some ways,
yeah.
God, this is going to turn into a Clerks the Animated show. But in some ways, I think it's kind of brilliant because it was like them trying to do family friendly. They had to come up with all new jokes. Like they had to come up with so many creative ways.
Right.
Like episode 2 being the clip show was brilliant.
Yeah. Why are we walking like this?
And it's if you describe the episode to anyone, they'll be like, "You're insane." It's like, I know, but it works so well. Oh,
it is a damn shame we only got what we got for that series.
Man, I miss the in-action figures too, because I had a couple of those, but I wish I got more of those back in the day. But yeah, it's the kind of thing, and I think, kind of going back with Bang, but it's like, it's kind of getting weird because there's talks of Paramount trying to buy up Warner Brothers now after their merger. And it's like, okay, so the same company will own Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. And it's like, I have a feeling we're going to get to a point where all of a sudden independent entertainment is going to become the new thing because it's like it's something different.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that Warner has already partnered with an independent production company. So if this purchase were to actually happen, this merger, whatever you want to call it, that A24, that independent production company, would be partnered with Paramount.
I didn't know they got A24.
Yeah, a lot of the A24 movies, because of previous licensure, will appear on Max first, but after a short window, it'll move over to Paramount.
Even HBO Max.
HBO Max. Oh yeah, it brought back its old name.
Which, I'm sorry, I'm an old man. I was kind of fine with Max. Whatever's shortest and easiest. Yeah, it's technically HBO, but it's like, all right. Yeah, it's going to be, well, and I think the other problem is, and it's just a weird thing with Hollywood, but it feels like right now it's like cool. Okay, if you want fantasy, we got Game of Thrones. It's like, yeah, what about other fantasy? We got Game of Thrones. It's like, okay, what if I want sci-fi? Star Wars. Okay, what if I want not Star Wars sci-fi?
Star Trek.
Star Wars. Like, we don't like. Is there a Star Trek show? I mean, I guess there's the animated ones.
There's multiple. Ever since, what was it, Brian? 2017, 2018, when Discovery started.
I'm a Trekkie, so I don't know. I'm more of a Star Wars guy. So
yeah, I think we've had. There has actually been a new animated series that's in canon, and it's comedy based, called Lower Decks.
I knew about Lower Decks, yeah.
Then there's Discovery, there's Picard, both of which have ended. Strange New Worlds is set before Captain Kirk became the captain of the Enterprise. And for the most part, the stuff isn't bad, but, you know, creativity would be nice.
Yes.
Well, my problem is because my favorite sci-fi show is Farscape.
Oof, that's rough. I'd love to see a revival of that or Babylon 5, but at least with Babylon, I know a lot of that hinges on JMS, J. Michael Straczynski, being willing to play ball, which is probably not going to happen outside of that animated revival they had.
I feel like, especially with sci-fi, you could set it like X amount of years in the future. But it's also, I enjoyed Babylon 5. I don't know if I need more Babylon 5. I would like more the lessons they learned from that. Like, hey, let's do. Well, and the cool thing with like sci-fi, it's like, because Star Trek is naval ship battles in space. Like, it's the idea of getting in a ship and exploring the unknown.
Right.
Star Wars is just Lord of the Rings. That is just straight up D&D fantasy in space.
To extent.
It is. I mean, Chewbacca's a barbarian. Han's a rogue. Luke is a paladin. It's like, yeah, it's brilliant because it's those archetypes just in a different way.
Right. Yeah.
Because Mando was the best Star Wars show, and that's because they're like, hey, what if we just do Lone Wolf and Cub?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and oh god, Mando was so good.
It was for the first 2 seasons. Then we got season 2.5, and 3 wasn't horrible, but was a little convoluted.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that got, and I'm going to lose all my pledges. There are aspects of season 1 I like. The only thing that kind of gets me with Star Wars, like the first episode of Mando, I'm like, oh, this is great. I want more of this. Second episode, the Jawas take apart a ship. I'm like, yeah, of course we got to go back to like. And here's the thing, I'm like, I would love like another Ewoks movie with the kids, but it always feels like they go back to that goofiness where I'm like, I need to watch Andor. I will admit that I haven't watched Andor yet because I think that's a serious one.
They also love going back to Tatooine. That tends to be their go-to planet. And I'm sorry, but Evolve, one of the things I love about creator-owned comics and even some of the corporate-owned comics is the fact that you can move to different places. You don't have to rely on nostalgia. One of the reasons why I loved Josh Williamson's and then Jeremy Adams' runs on The Flash is due to the fact that it paid a lot of love to what had come before, but pushed things in a different direction while, of course, folding in new crisis style or crisis level events. One of the things I love about Invincible as a comic is that the character doesn't have to stay in high school. The character doesn't have to be with one partner throughout the entire series. And
so wait, Brian, because I know Steven, we go back too long. Wait, what are some things you like? You said Star Wars. What are some other?
Well, my other big thing outside of the Flash and DC in general, I'm a big Sonic the Hedgehog guy. Love Sonic.
The Blue Blur Sonic?
Yes.
My problem is I grew up with the Archie stuff.
Okay.
There came a point where I got off the, like, I've never hated Sonic, but I got off the ramp. This is the kind of thing when I go back and look, I'm like, especially I made the mistake of going through the fan art section to get back on that ramp. And I'm like, oh no.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's not a perfect franchise. I will admit that, but like, I still love it. It means a lot to me. And actually, fun fact: an Archie Sonic comic. I think it's issue 20. That was my first ever comic.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I was there. I don't know why. Well, probably because it was like Archie, so it was safe for me. You know, parents are like, whatever. So, you know, talking animals. It's Archie. Here you go, kid. Who cares?
Yeah.
But it's like I swear I had like the first like 12 or whatever. Because I remember like I had like a random issue of Pinky and the Brain that was a Terminator ripoff. Like I would have random issues of stuff, but I had a good chunk of Sonic back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
See, we could talk about Sonic all day and all night. And if you want to participate at some point, Josh, Brian, and I are going to have a stream like this where we talk about Sonic the Hedgehog, because my first comic purchase was Sonic the Hedgehog issue 0 from 1992, the first Archie Sonic comic sold in stores. I'm a big fan of that era. Oh, that is so cool. That's so cool.
It's weird too, because like it's weird because some ways like Mario won the war.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought that was issue 1. I guess I had issue 0 as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at it right now. It's weird because some ways like Mario won the war, but like Sonic is more like I feel like the fan base is more fervor for Sonic.
And it's not just because of the furries, for the record. It's because Sonic is just way past cool.
And also, look, I'm going to tell you all a basic fact of life. If you're on the internet, do not make fun of furries. Because, like, I don't know why, but the Venn diagram of furries and people who are on IT are almost a perfect circle.
Mm-hmm. And some of the nicest people I've met in this world, no joke, they're furries.
Well, and the other thing I will point out, I don't know how we got here in life. Atlanta has a furry con in July.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, my word, that's gotta be brutal.
And here's the thing.
The Princess Sally's there.
They go gleefully with joy. And I'm like, you know what? That's a pain threshold I can't get. I'm not messing with anyone who, like, that's what they do for fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with it at all, man.
And also, this is not the strangest tangent. Is that, what is that, Sonic?
Sonic Select Book 1 and Book 2. Most of my Sonic collected editions are in storage back east. I have the first, I think, 212 issues in a long box.
Are you going to custom bind them, or?
Well, I don't want to promote other people's work since we're talking about you, but I will say there is a project ongoing right now where some of that old material, including Sonic the Hedgehog issue 0 that we were just talking about, is being released in a collected edition form, fully legal.
Yeah,
that's true. I get like there's part of me. The other cool thing though with like custom binding that you won't get with collective editions, even though I spend hundreds of dollars on stupid collected editions, you get the ads and stuff. You get that time capsule from the period.
Yeah, it's funny because I recently I purchased a while back. I purchased custom binds of the Flash William Metro Lobes run.
Okay.
As I was doing the reorder for the channel, I'm like looking through it, and I was almost getting like distracted by the ads. I'm like, oh, I gotta talk about the book. But going back from that stuff, that was a lot of fun.
It is nuts because you look at stuff and you're like, oh my gosh, like it's that weird memory where you're like, I forgot about this summer where this was everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so who here remembers, either you guys or anyone watching the chat, who remembers where you could order back issues via mail or order subscriptions via mail thanks to the ads in those comics? How cool was that? You could pay like $13 for 2 years of The Flash or Spider-Man direct from the publisher.
But here's the funny thing. I never had to do it because one of the cool things was getting comics as a kid before I really got into it when I started New 52 and onward. like before New 52, I was more like casual. I just read stuff sparingly, but like my dad used to work at Time Warner, so he was able to actually get a good amount of like DC stuff. And his friend used to work at a company that was affiliated with Archie, so he would get me Sonic stuff.
One like I remember I bought a lot of my comics from the grocery store because I'd go with my mom or whatever. You know, she's looking at groceries, like, let me go look at Mad Magazine and comics. Two, and technically they're destroying the industry now again, but Diamond's the reason why they got rid of that practice. Because the other distributor, I wasn't around, like, I was around, but I wasn't around. They emphasize reissuing back issues. Because what's crazy is we had a bunch of indie comics, because Bone was this way. You would come out with a new issue, then they would relisted all the old issues because it's like, oh, issue 7 looks cool. Can I order 1 through 6? You know, the comic store would be like, yeah, no problem. Here's 1 through 6. Diamond just wanted to focus on the new issue. They didn't want to focus any on the back issues.
Yeah.
And because of that, I think that's another reason why like the collected edition took off. Because you get to a point like I want to get that collection of Sonics because that was a good chunk of my childhood. And it's like I only probably want like a volume 1.
Yeah.
Because that's like what my childhood was.
Yeah, let me know if you want to be on that stream, no matter how many it ends up being, because I could talk ad nauseum about Sonic. I don't want to take away from your Kickstarter, but I'm really glad.
Let's get back on track, or I don't know if you guys.
I like how you both are like, Josh, we need to get on track. Meanwhile, I'm like, but this but this tangent.
It is your show, my brother. We will talk about whatever you want to.
The focus here.
Yeah, we'll talk about whatever you want to.
I mean, we can talk about, in my opinion, the best crossover of all time.
Oh, hells yeah.
Here's the other thing I've noticed. One, if you get someone like this day and age, I don't care who you are, it feels like you get sold nonstop. Like you leave your house, it's like, give me $50. It's like, but I just left my house. Like, yeah, give me $50. 2, if I can entertain you and you're like, wow, his ramblings I kind of like, there's a better chance you're going to go look at the book than if I'm like, okay, so page 4, panel 6.
Yeah.
This inspired me to draw the, you know.
I can name a couple creators like that.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all should back me up because I gave you a free art lesson. That's where the real money is.
Amen. But if any of you want to support Josh outside of the Kickstarter, he has a Patreon. I've got the link in the chat. Or you can read the first 20 chapters on his Josh Greathouse website, as well as check out Unprofessional, another one of his works.
The real comic.
And if you want an omnibus one day, it's entirely up to Josh. But if you want an omnibus, realize that just like with Image Comics, with Hickman, with Remender, those hardcovers, the creators pay for those. So if you want an omnibus one day, there's got to be some form of support. If you want to be Josh's sugar mama out there, he's available.
Well, like, jokes aside, because I know like a lot of people, you know, especially in the collector's edition market. Also, I just got to point this out. Has my chair been effing up all day? No. The second I get live on stream, it feels like this chair has just been fighting me. Anyway, the joy, like, yeah, because the thing is, you know, everyone, I've had a couple people, it's easy to kind of go like, oh, I'll wait for the trade or I'll wait for the omnibus, especially if it's like Batman. Let's be honest, Batman, X-Men, Superman, you know, there's certain titles, it's almost guaranteed to get an omnibus because it's got such a big audience. The thing with creator own, it's like there's no guarantee.
No, it's dependent upon people actually showing love and support, not just for the work, but for the creator through that work.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. Because not doing one comic is enough work. Yeah, this is unprofessional.
Actually, here's a good question for you, Josh. What would you say on average how long it takes you to like do an issue?
Oh, it takes a little bit of time because one, I am working on like unprofessional and Bang, so I switch off. Two, I do have a day job, so this isn't my full time. It's kind of it depends. It's like with Bang, I try to do like about 2 pages a week, and I do it like every other week.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes I can usually get like 3 issues out a year.
Yeah.
The problem is too, going back to Bang. So, the good thing about doing online shows are like this. I get a lot of praise, which is great for my ego.
Yeah.
But I would also like to point out I'm a moron, and it's like, well, you should, people are going to be like, well, why would you say something so negative about yourself? That's because I wrote and drew all this. I can't blame anyone. Look at this. Look at this insanity. And here's the other dumb thing. No two characters are alike. I got a bunch of women fighting a bunch of little lizard dudes on birds in a canyon.
Damn you for being creative.
Oh, there's a sequence that goes hard when they're in this cave/tunnel system, and the fact that he managed to get his sanity out of there, that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, because just to give you an idea, because that's when I say I'm having fun, I'm trying to do because I think it's easy to be like, well, I do this, I do that. So let's look at chapter 17. A little flashback. A little young Bang. Woo. Woo. But like I said, this book is full of action.
Adult action, kids. So ask your parents first. This isn't GameStop where you can pick up Grand Theft Auto without an ID.
Man, it is 8:42 on a Friday. If the kids have a Kickstarter, I'm not too worried about it. I'm not too worried about the youths. Oh, but yeah, like I said, this is. Yeah, I got both double page spreads.
Mm-hmm. And this would be past Volume 3 as well. Volume 3, as he mentioned, is chapters 9 through 12.
Yep.
But he's just showing you, if you're interested, we got to get to Volume 5 for that hot action.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact, the issue I just showed that's only available through the Patreon. So technically, I am really screwing up this capitalism game.
Ryan will get after you later for it.
Yeah. So just real quick again, where can we find the Kickstarter and all that stuff?
So Kickstarter is it's Bang the Ballad of the Tiger Volume 3. Website is joshgreathouse.com.
Okay.
And the Patreon is once again in the chat as well. It's thinking. There we go.
There we are.
So yeah, any other questions, comments, concerns?
I don't have concerns.
Well, I have one since he brought it up.
Yeah.
And we can talk more about it on a Sonic stream, but what's the most frightening Sonic fan art you've been exposed to?
It's not even it's easy. The joke is always oh, what is it? It's just more the mediocre of it. I would say it's the most frightening for me because there's so many where I'm I get it, you're edgy. You wish you grew up with Django jeans, but it's just the most generic, especially original characters who are green. I swear percentage-wise, that's a higher one than others.
Yes.
Thank you, Scourge.
Yeah.
And, well, I think part of it too is like Sonic's got the blue.
Mm-hmm.
Sally's got, like, even though Sally's technically not canon, but it's like you got X amount of red ones. Like Knuckles is red. That's probably be a better example.
Mm-hmm.
Shadow's black.
Yeah.
There's silver, but no one likes silver. Like, I will die on that.
It's Absolution. It's a great song now.
It is. But silver was also introduced in a controversial Sonic the Hedgehog game.
Which, fun fact for folks, was the game that I got when I got my PS3.
Really?
First game.
Wow.
Yeah.
So here's another question, and I know we've talked about it before in other streams in the Discord. If this were to become like other independent comic book properties, like Invincible, and was licensed for an animated series, what would your preferred studio be?
Now, Steven's listened to my interviews because most people ask the live action question. I'm like, I don't know. Animated wise, I would love Studio Trigger. They've done, they do like all the Netflix anime, I swear.
Mm-hmm.
But like, they did Cyberpunk Edge Runners, Delicious in Dungeon. They have some of the best animation. I would also love Shinji Tartakovsky because, man, Samurai Jack is a huge inspiration on this.
Primal Season 3 can't come soon enough.
Okay, that's one. If you do a Primal, I need to be on because have you watched Primal, Brian?
I have, yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Especially, I will not spoil it, like, but what gets me with Primal, the storytelling on that man, the balls that man brings.
Yeah.
Especially, like, there is no talk, like, especially because he does it silently, but he does it in ways that are like, oh. And, okay, the other fun thing with animation, and, like, with anything, the cool thing with comics, it's time is the expense. Yeah. So, it's not like, it's imagination and talent, but the real thing is time. Because it's like, hey, how long do I, especially if you're doing, like, a monthly book, it's like, hey, I have to get this out in X amount of time. With animation, it's like it's some of those more complex scenes. So the question is like, where can we cut corners so we can do the big ones? So if you're like reading a comic, you might get like a bunch of talking heads, then like a double page spread of like a city being blown up or something. So it's like, okay, these ones with no backgrounds help pay for this double page spread. With Primal, they will do so many quiet moments where it's like, yeah, this is them saving money on animation, but they're using storytelling so it doesn't feel like we're getting cheaped out, so we can have the big bombastic moments. Especially, man, they do one with the slave ship where it just shows like water hitting the edge of the ship, and I'm like, that was a cost saving measure, but it's a brilliant tension building because you're like, zoom up, please zoom up.
And if anyone in the modern animation industry knows how to conserve budget, it would be Tartakovsky. Because man's had to do it for years. Going back to Samurai Jack, there's so many silent moments throughout the original series and the revived 5th season that bring a lot of heart and emotion to that story.
Well, what's crazy was because he was just full on like storytelling because. So there's kind of 3 pillars to art. You got storytelling, you got composition, then you got detail or rendering. This goes with comics, anything. So you kind of get 2 out of the 3. So it's like, okay, if we have really good like composition, really good storytelling, you're not going to have a lot of detail or rendering. That's like a Mike Mignola. But then on the other side, it's like, man, there's a lot of detail and the composition is great. Not a lot of storytelling. You get that, you get that a lot. Now, like I said, sometimes people will sacrifice one for the other, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Tartakovsky definitely went, what if we go more into the storytelling route than anything? And because, yeah, 3 Brian Archers was the first one that started off like that episode's almost completely silent. And they're like, well, wait a minute, we got something here. Because the biggest thing with any medium, it's show, don't tell.
Yeah.
And I think like a lot of modern readers, you all listen to fans complain, it's like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like this. It always boils down to they're telling me, they're not showing me. It's not like, oh, I get to experience this cool moment. It's someone going, let me tell you why he's the most dangerous. It's like, well, no, I don't care. Show me why he's the most dangerous. So yeah, and that's a lesson. Going back to me bragging about my work, that's a lesson I definitely learned, because it was like, because one thing I love to do, I love to drop hints, because I love to lay down like, hey, this is what's coming. And if you're like a creative person and you want to get into writing, the easiest thing you can do is just drop hints, because people will think you know what you're doing and that you're brilliant and you had this all laid out. And it's like, not really. I just left the open string that future me can figure this problem out later.
Josh is inspired by Oda and has taken some lessons by given by the creator of One Piece.
Have you read One Piece, Brian?
No, I'm not really
shame.
Guy.
Shame.
Well, just to kind of give you a little example,
yeah.
Oda had this error in architecture in an early-ish chapter of One Piece, and it took no one would have really cared, but 1,000-ish chapters later, he paid off that architectural mistake, and that's kind of what Josh is feeding through with Bang. I still have obviously no idea where this story is going, but as I'm reading it, it does really remind me a lot of when I first read Berserk. And just like a lot of us who are reading comics, we can start formulating what the voices sound like in our heads. And we can almost picture that we're within that world watching these events take place. Josh mentioned the potential for live action, because we've talked about this. And right now, the only person I can really picture is Bang. She'd have to dye her hair, obviously, is maybe Florence Pugh. But if this were an animation, I don't know many modern anime voice actors, but I could picture 30 years ago, I could picture Wendy Lee's Faye-style voice as Bang's mother, just that tone of voice of concern and care for others. But with Bang, it's a little bit harder because she's younger and more likely to be a rebel, which kicks off the entire story for this thing.
Also, here's a fun question. Has you've all seen Legend of the Drunken Master, right?
I have.
The Jackie Chan film?
Years ago.
So what's fun is, I don't know why, I've always liked the mother from that movie.
Okay.
I've always enjoyed the mother from that. Yeah, that character's based off of her.
Okay.
I was waiting for one of y'all to be like, oh, it's like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it's been like years since I see that movie, so I didn't like click on me right away. Sorry about that.
Man.
Well, Brian plays video games too. Show him that Easter egg that you showed off previously. Wasn't it the ink machine?
Wait, which one?
Or am I thinking something else? Wasn't Bendy in one of the...
Yeah, you're thinking something different. Wait,
okay.
Brian, are you playing Silk Song?
No.
Boo. Brian, what are you playing?
Right now, I'm actually playing the new Indiana Jones game.
I've heard nothing but good things about that game.
It's really good. It's a lot of fun.
I've heard it's worth every penny that they've invested into it already.
Yeah, it really is. It's so much fun.
You know what's weird? And I don't know if it's just like the signs of the time. There's a new Phantom game that's out.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting new Dick Tracy. We're getting new Prince Valiant, new Flash Gordon. It's like, it feels like we're getting a bunch of old IP that are like, if Doc Savage comes back, that will be the weird one.
Dude, if we after all these years, get a Space Ghost movie or a Space Ghost video game, I'll go nuts.
Especially, man, I want like class. Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy Coast to Coast, but I kind of hate how that overshadowed like classic Space Ghosts.
The actual Space Ghost, yeah. That's actually how I first saw it. I saw Coast to Coast, and then later on when I saw the actual Space Ghost, I was like, this is weird.
Well, that was another cartoon when it was airing. It had a lot of budgetary restrictions. They wanted a lot of quantity, and some of the creators behind that, they wanted quality, and that's why it didn't last as long.
Yeah.
And that's why, unfortunately, Alex Toth couldn't push it much further than he probably would have preferred to. But Dynamite seems to be doing okay with it.
I'm pretty sure that old man hated Coast to Coast. I'm a huge Toth fan, but yeah, I'm 90% sure.
Yeah.
And also, going back to me, one's like with anything, you have to set up, because like with Bang, I do it at a little smaller size. I do everything at 600 DPI. Standard print is 300, so I technically can blow these up.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, like, I don't do, on average, more than 6 panels. I do these flat colors because they're easier to get through. So, like, with Bang, I know, like, there's X amount of colors, so I know how to get through them quite quickly. But yeah, that's the fun of art. It's the problem solving. I screwed that up or whatever. It's the problem solving and figuring everything out. Because, like, I did this in issue 1. I don't do it. I love doing this. Dropping out her hat, but just having the skull on top. Like, it's a cool look.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I do less work. I make you all fill in, like, ooh, you all fill in where the hat is. I'm out.
If anyone wants to volunteer for next year's HeroCon to cosplay as Bang and advertise at Josh's booth, I'm sure he would not argue
I would lose my mind.
Because that hat is kick-ass. You have to read the story to find out, but there's more significance to that hat than just the design.
Yeah.
So I've been trying, like, with the Kickstarter, you have to advertise and go out, do the thing. Do stuff like this. But one guy, it might end up in the back of a book. He's like, I love the world building. You don't do a lot of info dumping. This seems like a great comic. But I hate that trash can hat. Also, I told BJ Kicks this one. If you're ever doing art and you want to make things look cool without doing more work, just throw a box behind something.
It works.
And for those of you who are wondering what Josh may have meant by throw it on the back of the book, each of these books comes with a quotation from a real live person. So just to spoil book 1, if he's okay with it.
Oh, yeah. I love your art, your style, but it does offend me at times. Mom, 2022.
That's great.
Josh should never talk. He should just show off his artwork. Omar of Near Mint 2023.
Good stuff. All right, guys, I'm going to dip out because my phone's going to die soon. So rather than me just disappearing out of nowhere, I'll probably just make my exit now.
No worries. Thanks for being here, Brian.
Yeah.
Stream soon.
Yeah. Nice to meet you, Josh.
Nice to meet you.
All right. I'll catch you guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Okay, now we can talk about why Sonic is like the worst character ever made. Oh. No.
So what else would you like to talk about as far as the Kickstarter or Bang? I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. I'm just thrilled that we've finally been able to do this.
I just can't believe how much time has actually passed. Like, these always go by so quickly.
I could talk about this for hours, and not to promote my own channel here, viewers, but as time continues to march forward with this Kickstarter, I will also hopefully be able to host Josh on DBZ All-Star for YouTube, because even if it makes its goal, I want to get as much support as humanly possible, because this Kickstarter is going to fund Volume 3, but it could potentially do more. He's got enough material already published, as he mentioned, for up through Volume 5.
And like I said, it's the kind of thing, I do have like an ending in mind. Some things are still fluid, because like, so here's a little fun behind the scenes. This current chapter, I was like, cool, I'm going to end on this beat that will set up this next part. Problem was, I ran out of pages, which has never happened before. So I'm like, well, I got to move this beat one issue. So what do I fill this with? So I'm like, all right, let's fill this with this. I'm like, what? Basically, I'm like, what do I want to draw here? But then it's like, okay, if I draw this here, can I use this later? And then it kind of dawned on me. I'm like, oh, yeah, I can take this idea and plant it here to help strengthen this. And that's kind of how the writing works for me. It's always like me moving around, like daydreaming, going like, okay, what if I take this? Can I use this later? And there are some things where I'm like, can I use this later? No, I like this, but this kind of works better one and done, because it's easy. Because let's be honest, there are some amazing characters. We'll take the Joker, for instance. When you overuse the Joker, he loses his impact. And it's like,
amen.
And it's hard too, where it's like, oh man, he threatened to blow up the city. Oh man, he threatened to blow up the nation. Oh man, he threatened to blow up the world. Oh man, we get. It's like,
oh no, he crippled Barbara. Oh no, he crippled Jim. Oh no, he's crippled Barbara again.
The one that lost me, I haven't read it, granted, but just seeing the covers, I'm like, why did he cut off his own face and restaple it on? Like,
so that was the New 52. That was the first issue of Detective Comics for the New 52. Then the Joker doesn't reappear until Batman issue 13. It takes a whole year for him to show up. The whole reasoning behind that, spoilers, boys and girls, for a 13-year-old comic at this point. We're at the 15th anniversary, I believe. He wanted Batman to grow to miss him, for Gotham to settle into peace, but the Joker should have known, Gotham being Gotham, there is no freaking peace in Gotham.
We had that storyline. It's called Return of the Joker.
And no offense to Scott Snyder, I think he is a wonderful human being. I think he's a brilliant writer. His absolute Batman run currently, holy crap, there's so much that I feel is drawn from anime, especially Berserk, because the bat symbol gets to be as big as Guts' sword.
Wait, what is Guts' sword's name?
I don't remember.
Fake fan, boo, Dragon Slayer. Because it's more iron than
I always call it the Buster Saber when I'm not actively reading Berserk.
I don't know.
Cloud Strife's sword.
I think the reason I remember it, because Dragon Slayer is such like a generic name, but that sword is so huge where I'm like, you know what? That one I can accept as Dragon Slayer. Like, you can't have like a normal sword called Dragon Slayer.
No, but it's the only sword that Griffith will ever be on the end of from Guts, and he'll just have to face that. Yeah, exactly. But what was I saying? Snyder just... I understand it was a new canon. I feel at that point, the Joker was at the beginning of being overrepresented. And I feel like he was placed in that story because of the brilliant performance that Heath Ledger gave to the character in The Dark Knight.
Oh, sure. Well, and I think the other thing is, especially like with Absolute, I think we're getting to a point, like, I love like I love Elseworlds, but I also love where it's like like I just read Batman the Cult like a few months ago, and it's like I love stories that it's like, is this canon? Maybe, maybe not. Is it a good story? Fuck yes. And it's like I rather have like a good story that stands on its own, and I do, and it's like, you know, people, I will get this question. It's like, oh, if you could write a Batman story, it's like I want to write a Batman story, and the reason I want to write a Batman story, I'm like, what do you do? Like it's all been done. You know, especially like I just found out like the whole microchip in his head. Like there are certain things where I'm like, well, that's just silly beyond silly. Now, here's the thing. Do I have an amazing Stiltman story? Yes. Am I joking? No. Because no one cares about Stiltman. There are things you could do with that.
I actually do, and I feel that recently the only love that character has gotten was in an Iron Man run that no one talks about by Christopher Cantwell, where they use the fact that he is an engineer at heart and felt the need to turn to villainy in order to again, there have been retcons. That's one of the things you deal with corporate comics in order to keep them fresh. People is retcons sometimes. No offense to corporate comics, but with that Stiltman story line in Iron Man, I fell in love with the idea that this character has potential again after feeling as though no one wanted to touch Stiltman for the longest time. I mean, he was dead supposedly at one point in Daredevil, and we had Lady Stiltman and Stiltman 2 and 3 running around.
First of all, it should be like Lady Stilt. That's what they should have called the character. Lady, like sometimes that's the other thing. And don't get me wrong, I do love the big two. You know, we all love the big two. Mm-hmm. I do feel like there are times that like Civil War 2, I'm like, really? You're just going to add a 2 behind this?
Because I couldn't call it Marvel's Minority Report.
Well, it's like the War of the Houses. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, go look at history. Like, there's other names than Civil War. The Battle of the Brothers. Father versus Son. Family Feud. Electric Bugle.
I would read that. But, again, at least with creator-owned comics, say you wanted to introduce I don't know, this is a horrible name for a character, but going off of the adding lady to any character's name, if you wanted to introduce Man Bang, there would be a story reason behind it. It wouldn't be just because you had killed off Bang and wanted to revive the character as a man instead.
And the other dumb thing behind all this, like the reason we have She-Hulk, who is a fun character, but Stan Lee was worried about like TV making a different version, and that's how you get some of these characters. Because here's another fun fact. When I started this comic, I was doing security at the time, and there was one dude who just was always on. Like he, for whatever reason, I was his personal project. He just annoyed me to no end. Now I'm not gonna lie, I have it written somewhere. But his last name, like this is a mixture of the word gecko and his last name is how I got this creature's name. Because I'm like, you know what? Can't do anything now, but you will live in infamy as a giant monster with no eyes. Oh, that's the other thing. If you're like, man, you know, I want to read something that doesn't have Joker doing the same thing over and over again. I do love how I can just open up. At this point, someone's not going to have to read all the issues because I'll just show them off. Yeah, look at this page. Look at the shenanigans. And actually, let's get through here a bit. Yeah. Do you recognize where this is from?
It reminds me a little of Primal, but I could be wrong.
You're not wrong with Primal, but I'm talking about the action she's doing.
I'm blanking, but I do know what you're talking about.
The Akira slide.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, if you do a comic long enough, you have to do the Akira slide. Like, it's kind of written in the bylaws.
At this point, yes. Yes, it is.
Oh,
you put all of them through hell, but poor Eddie's not prepared for any of this world, and he gets through the worst trauma. Bang's like, oh, I've lost an arm and a leg. 'Tis but a flesh wound. But Eddie, it's like, will he make it out of any of this with his sanity intact?
I do. The thing I love about Eddie, because he's definitely like the pampered kid who doesn't know what, like, because I feel like, well, one, I remember another quote from my mom. I'd rather have a sucky childhood than a sucky adulthood, because childhood is quicker or doesn't last as long as adulthood. And I feel like with Eddie, it's like he's had such a pampered great life where like some of the stuff that's like, oh yeah, this is what the real world's like. He does not know that.
Yeah, instead of welcome to the OC, bitch, it's welcome to the real world, bitch. I get you. Was his name by any chance influenced, just the length and the style, was his name influenced by Edward from Cowboy Bebop? No,
it was a mixture of Vox Machina. Oh, I'm blanking on his name. Garolo, the guy with the guns. So here's another fun factor. But the other thing with Eddie, because it's Edmard. Basically, it's Edward, but instead I took the W and just turned it into an M because I'm like, oh, that looks like fantasy. And then I'm not gonna lie, there are sometimes, and this is for any, I don't care what you're working on. There are sometimes people have very in-depth, rich ideas. There are other times it's like, I don't know, just flip this letter, let's do this quick. But yeah, there's Eddie. Oh, I'm glad I said that. Yeah. So these three are technically these two, but there's three of them. They're spoofs off of a Critical Role.
Oh, that's awesome.
His name is Ale. He's a mixture of Grog and the bear from Critical Role, or from Vox Machina. And
thank you, Felicia Day.
Oh yeah, same thing, because like he is a mixture of Vax and I cannot think of Garolo, his first name, the guy with the gun. And then yeah, I end like same thing. So it's like, because in horror films they will all, like, if it's Friday the 13th, they'll have a like Nightmare on Elm Street poster like ripped in half, or like the idea it's like, we're the real movie, this is the fake movie. So in my mind I'm like, well, okay, let me pull promos on the biggest fantasy thing out at the time, which is Critical Role.
You're not kidding. Between Arcane and Critical Role, fans of D&D are eating good.
Oh yeah. So yeah, this, God, man, this is such a long time ago. Oh, but anyway, like Steven said, though, yeah, because it's the kind of thing, I'm a creator on doing this. This is the dream. This is me having fun with. Actually, let's do this. We can start wrapping up, so I can stop. Aha. But yeah, this is, like I said, this is me having as much fun with fantasy as possible, and I try to do like, you'll have storylines with a bunch of little things attacking. You might have one big thing attacking. You might have a mixture of the two. I try to think of the giant storyline, but I honestly do not want an issue that's just like, oh, let's talk about this. Why, yes, I can't. It's like, there will always be movement. And that's the other thing, like Steven's brought up. There's always change. Things always march along. Like, nothing stays in place.
And you can continue to expect the unexpected with this story. There have been some significant changes to characters already within these first 20 chapters.
Because I was about to say, you've read chapter 15, right? Yeah, Off the Bone.
Brutal. At first, Josh, I thought I was reading an Ito manga.
So what's funny was, okay, so this will give you some context. There was a book I was talking to a writer about drawing way back in the day, Cult of Dracula. It just came out. And I was talking to the writer, and he's like, cool, it's a retelling of Dracula in modern day. But he's like, we have a scene where the brides are eating, they get a pregnant woman, and they eat an unborn child. So I'm like, okay, we could do some shadows. There's things we can do that's not too brutal, but brutal at the same time. Because I'm like, there's a line. Even for me, there's a line. I was like, all right, we could do this once. Then he's like, yeah, later on, he attacks a nursery. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, look. You kill one unborn child, sure, but you kill, a whole nursery. I'm like, well, that takes away the point. I told my mother this, man. My mom gets a lot of airtime on this. I was talking to my mom about this, and she goes, Josh, you've never drawn a baby being killed. I'm like, of course not, Mom. She's like, okay. A toddler? I'm like, no. She's like, a child? I'm like, I've made a child.
Quote for book 4.
Like I said, I've just maimed a child. Like, who among us hasn't? Oh.
To paraphrase Team 4-Star, we do not endorse the harming of children. We do find it hilarious.
Actually, that's quite the opposite. It is not a hilarious moment.
Well,
yeah, no, I get you.
One of the things I love about fiction and horror is that if you do it right, it can reflect real life. And as tragic as it is, no one is safe in the real world. So say what you will about something like Alien versus Predator Requiem. It's not a great movie, but I love the fact that no one is safe in that movie.
How dare you, Stephen? We are not going to trash pure art that is known as Alien versus Requiem. That is some of the highest form of cheat. Like, and if you want a bad movie night, you can't do better than that film.
The lighting is just so inconsistent in that movie. So inconsistent, especially once they get to the hospital scene.
You could tell there was a lot of big plans that got scrapped, and there was a lot of like, okay, we have no budget. How do we shoot this scene? Like, oh, it was a hot mess. Oh, especially the ending of that movie. It's like, yeah, that's inappropriate way to handle the situation.
100%.
Now, I will say, because you brought up like with Berserk, and I can say this. Bang will never have any sexual, will never have rape or anything like that. That's a line that's a little too far for me. Reading, and I will suggest Berserk to people, and I will warn people. It's like, hey, there's a lot of essay, like sexual, avoid, this might traumatize you. But the reason I can recommend Berserk is because at most it might be half a chapter, but usually it's like a few pages. But the aftermath is thousands of pages. And it's like, I think that's a big difference where it's like, hey, you can do a lot of brutal stuff, but it's like, how do you handle it? How do you handle show the actual weight of the situation?
You're not glorifying it. You're using it as a story beat, but that's not all there is. And it's not being utilized for edgelord. One of the things I love about creators like you, like Miura, again, rest in peace, like Oda, is the fact that there's a lot of thought and a lot of emotion that goes into it, because these characters, granted, some for a long time, some for maybe 5 seconds, they have to live in your head, and you're taking the responsibility to guide those characters to each part of that story.
And I think the other thing is, one of the it's a cool feature, but it's also if it's done right. Because going back to like the big two or corporate comics, that resetting, it's like sometimes it's handled right, sometimes it's not. But it does suck because it does feel like you get to a point like, oh, there's a lot of growth, we're moving forward. Well, it's like, for whatever reason, like Peter Parker cannot be happy. And it's like, okay, that's fine. Can we reset this in more clever ways? Sometimes you get in, sometimes you don't. The thing with an independent, you can't go, like, it's kind of weird because it's like, I will never just go back. It's not like, well, she's back in the village again. Let's try this. It's like, no, that's not going to happen. It's like, so yeah. And like I said, I've got, the other hard thing is you want to, the more people you tell a story, the less likely you are to do it. Because if I go, hey, so this is going to lead to this, which leads to this, which is the big reveal is this. And if I tell that to too many people, I don't want to draw it as much. So it's like, I try to be a little dodgy. I try not to give specifics because, man, like I said, I got some stuff planned. Ooh.
I'm excited. One of the best things about having all of these stories available, no matter what form, be it movies, shows, hell, music, it's the mystery.
Oh, yeah.
You will never have that first time again.
Because even
just
like
first in life, you want to be able to savor it. You don't want it spoiled for you.
Because, man, I had friends who were watching Game of Thrones. I didn't have HBO at the time. So I was like, all right, let me get the audiobooks. I was a chapter away from the Red Wedding, and a friend spoiled it for me. And here's the thing. You might not remember all the minutiae. There's certain things you'll forget. But like the Red Wedding, you'll not, it's like, especially because it gets so ingrained in pop culture. And yeah, because there are times too, it's like, and I would love to do Bang full time. I would love to pump this out more, but it's also, there's a certain quality I do want to keep up with this because it's like, hey, I want this. So there's a quote from Jackie Chan because he talks about, it's like, hey, like the cool thing with Jackie Chan is he will spend like 10,000 shots to get that one shot, to get it one time. And I think that's the problem with like a lot, like we can go into the whole modern movies, but it's like they try to make it as fast as possible. But Jackie Chan talks about, he's like, hey, are you going to go to everyone in the theater and be like, yeah, we wanted to get this shot, but it was raining that day, so we had to settle on this. So yeah, please keep watching. Hey, we would like to get the shot, but we had to settle on, it's like, you're not going to go through that. So it's like, deliver it that one time. That to me really struck a chord. It's like, okay, I got to deliver on that one time.
I love that. That's brilliant. It just shows that these people who give us these stories, Josh included, they put a lot of heart and soul into it. It gives you a greater appreciation every time you go to the local comic book store or hop on Webtoons and read something.
Well, yeah, and especially like with Webtoons. But I would say this too. Like, I love omnibuses. I love oversized. But in some ways, that is a dead series because the only way you get that is if it's 100% like there's not new material coming out, because the way you have to map that.
Yeah, it's still living and breathing at that point.
Yeah. So it's the kind of thing, it's like, because I know some people are like, I don't want to get a trade. I'll wait for this or that. It's like, man, this might only get a trade. Like, there are a couple books I have. I wish they would. I want them in hardcover. I wish they would just get reprinted because I've read them so many times. Where I'm like, God, this thing's starting to show some age.
One I can tell you right now, and you might agree, is Ragnarok. I'd love to see that be able to get some reprint love on a regular basis.
Well, you didn't. You're out of the loop. I got some good news. That's actually getting a oversized reprint with the new series.
That's awesome.
Act 4.
I'm gonna have to pick that up because my copies are back east and they were a little worn.
Because there's one by Dan. What's his name? There's a book. The worst part is it's 20 feet from me. I can never remember the name of it. It's from Tokyo Pop. It's when they did Create Our Own, from Dan Hip. And Dan Hip does nothing but covers now. But it's called Gagausha, G-A or G-Y-A-K.
Gyakushu.
That is one of the coolest series I've ever read. It has 3 volumes. Only 2 have been printed physically. Volume 3 is only available digitally. It's available through Hoopla, but it's also Kindle. And that is the one where I'm like, just reprint this.
I'm all for something like that. I remember the days where some of the manga publishers, heck, DC had a manga publishing wing for a little while, where creators were able to get involved and push their own
The crazy thing is, I think Dan Hip's Canadian. This was Tokyo Pop, but this was an imprint of them trying to print non-manga in the manga format. So think like Scott Pilgrim. It's like different company, but Scott Pilgrim. And that's the other hard thing with some of the stuff from small, sometimes with publishers, rights get lost in a certain way. So the good thing about Create Our Own, it's like, hey, I control everything.
But in the event that you followed the path of, say, Kirkman or someone I know a little bit more,
Kirkman's Create Our Own
personally is Mike Hawthorne. If Image were to offer you a partnership, would that be something that would help a little bit?
Well, yeah, because Image is still Create Our Own. Image, yeah, because the thing with Image, like you said before, you have to pay for X amount of printing because they're very rare on that stake. And like I said, the other thing is like every company is going to be a little bit different depending on where you are. Because like a Mike Mignola before Hellboy and a Mike Mignola after Hellboy are 2 different entities.
Oh, 100%. There are creators like Josh who, from the beginning to modern, have stayed the same. The can't remember if the last name is pronounced Penny or Peony, but the creators of ElfQuest for 40 years now, they've been so consistent. And ElfQuest is another series that I would compare to Bang in that there's so much heart and soul in it. So if you're fans of ElfQuest, check out Bang Ballad of the Tiger.
Also, if you've never read ElfQuest, that's all free on their site as well.
That's what I was just about to say. Well, and the world building is so similar because you're introduced to these characters and it's almost a real world evolution and growth.
I think the other thing is too, because I know like with ElfQuest, and Bang has this, I do this along with Bang. Like one, I feel like a lot of people with world building words, I'll talk to people, I'm like, hey, what's your story? And it's like, what's the quick elevator pitch? They'll start laying out like all the world building. It's like, whoa, I don't care. Like, what's the overall? And I feel like a lot of people get stuck in the weeds where like, I gotta figure out, I need to know how everything works in this world. It's like not really, because it's like with ElfQuest, you can kind of tell it's like, okay, I have this idea, but from this idea we'll go a little bit bigger. Then we'll go a little bit, and then all of a sudden you have a complete world. It started out, because, and I will say this, especially if you are creative, if you find yourself like really getting into the weeds, I need to figure out every part of this world building. No one cares how you get a root canal in any story. No one like if it's part of the story, cool. But when you're watching like the first episode of Star Trek, the first Star Wars movie, Lord of the Rings, no one talks about a root canal. But everyone will get granular to that level in a Create Our Own.
So with that in mind, since you brought it up, to start closing this out, what is your elevator pitch for Bang? And also, if you were to recommend Bang to fans of blank, what would that be?
So Bang, I would say, is a kung fu inspired fantasy. So instead of a guy with a big sword, it's a woman with a boot. things I would compare this to, definitely Dragon Ball, early Dragon Ball. I would say a lot of manga, a little bit of like One Piece, Inuyasha. I feel like a lot of oddball fantasies. So stuff that's like got Coda, Headlopper, where it's fantasy, but it's definitely taking fantasy in a different route. And don't get me wrong, I love Lord of the Rings, some of the best material we've ever gotten. I do feel like the problem is too many people have gone to that well. Like way too many people have been like, well, I can take, so it's like, hey, let me try a different spring. And that's kind of what Bang is. Because like I said, the beginning of Bang, the Empire's taken over. Because usually in any fantasy, it's like, oh, we gotta stop the evil army from coming in. It's like, well, they take, the war is lost.
And then the Fire Nation attacked.
Shoot, I'm not original. Ah!
Well, Josh's Kickstarter is doing fairly well. He just needs to get to $3,500. Let me refresh here, see if we got more monies coming in. We're at $2,865. We have 69 backers still. 12 days. Support Josh if you're interested in a kung fu sci-fi epic. If you like Berserk, if you like original storytelling, check it out. If you can't afford the Kickstarter, read it on Josh Greathouse's website. If you can afford a penny here or there, check out the Patreon. You get amazing behind-the-scenes content. And really, don't you want to be in the same community, Omnibuds Cafe, that Ryan Williams is a part of?
And I'll say this too, because like I said, it's fun reading like the classic, certain characters everyone's read. There is a joy to that. There's also a joy of going out and trying different things. And especially because like right now, I am reading the Smurfs Archives. No one else is reading that book. It is enjoyable and delightful. But that's the thing. Sometimes I feel like with this hobby, you get to a certain point where it's like, hey, let me venture out. Like, this path is well worn. Let me try a lesser worn path. And that's what I offer. Because, like, and I guarantee you, there are a lot of story beats you're not going to see coming. Because,
no. I mean, how many times, again, not disincorporate here, but how many times can you read about Peter and Mary Jane breaking up? To pay tribute to Brian, how many times can you read The Flash where something horrible happens, Reverse Flash comes around the corner, and he goes, "This is me, Barry. It was me."
Well, and the thing is, too, I feel like the other problem, and this is like a whole nother discussion, because I do feel like, because I know some people hate the term corporate comics, but these comics are now connected to large companies. I think some of the best stories were more like, hey, we're just kind of having fun. Let's try. Like, we're doing things that it's like, well, we've never done this before. Let's just try this. There's so many rules with them now. It's like, I don't think you could do some stuff that you could back in the 80s or 70s. Like you can't, or especially the 90s that you do nowadays. And like I said, especially if Paramount buys Warner Brothers, I have a feeling in the near future, it's going to be a lot more like, hey, have you checked out? It's like the fan base isn't as big, but it's like, hey, it's something different. Let's, have you seen this?
Amen. Well, thank you, Josh, for allowing me to have you. Thank you for allowing us to share in your talent and in this epic that I only hope continues to grow in popularity. Please, if you can, check out his Kickstarter, the Patreon. Links in this video, and he's part of the Omnibuds Cafe. So if you want to tell him how great his work is, tell him. If you want to offer critiques, he's willing to fight you.
I will say this, though, especially because I gave that quick art lesson. If you do have any questions, you can reach out to me. I'm glad to answer. And we have 30 seconds to fill because we'll be at exactly 2 hours.
Thanks for being here, Josh.
Oh, man, are you going to cut it early?
I'm going to end the stream.
You got 20 seconds.
Okay.
We can fill this. Come on.
We're
not. What, are you gonna bail when we got 10 seconds left on 2 hours? Come on, there we go.
Small Soldiers is the best.
Oh, yeah. And 3, 2, cut it.